Hey, viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist, and welcome back to So You're Being Hunted, this time with me and Phil. Isn't that right, Phil?
Oh, I've just noticed there's a nice effect, isn't it, on the water when the
Yeah,
sun comes across? It's very orange, isn't
it
it?
is, yeah.
Wow, that's a nice little effect that they've done. That, of course, this is the more updated Sir
Mm,
than it was. Yeah, so there was updated graphic effects and things like that.
indeed,
Yeah, I never really
yes.
noticed that about the water. That's really a nice effect. That.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny,
it
I
was,
actually do like the water effects since they are just very pretty,
yeah, it's
to
the
look at.
orange hue came off there. Very nice.
The orange-hued water.
Oh, who better that? Oh my God, we have to go back to Amnesia.
We do.
Get
Amnesia
some
Dark Descent.
get some custom maps
Yeah,
done. Yeah, on that one.
absolutely. I'd love
Um,
to go back to that game and play some more of it.
yeah.
As long as obviously we don't get another map like Streets of London, which barely fucking worked properly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Is life treating you well?
Life is treating me well at the moment, yes. Having a nice relaxing weekend so far. Just, well, doing a bit of housework and things like that. But interesting actual news. I've bought myself a game actually earlier today on Steam, which I've been sort of toying with the idea of buying it for some time because I'm really interested and thinking, oh, that could be a good one to potentially play on the old Chanel.
Okay.
It's a horror game, and it is the remake for PC of Silent Hill 2.
Oh, it's finally happened.
Yeah,
You have finally got one of the chonker horror franchises. I never
yes,
thought you were going to get into it because I remember you say, "Oh, finally you've gone for Silent Hill."
yes. Well, the thing is,
Uh,
like Silent Hills, obviously, like Resident Evil has
oh,
those
that's the
games
other
that are
one.
on
Are you,
PC.
are you going to
Yeah,
go for that one? Resident
maybe
Evil.
I don't know. I'm sort of undecided on that one. But Silent Hill is the one of the two of them that I've always wanted to play a Silent
To
Hill
get
game
the
before.
remake of two, yeah,
Yeah,
Silent Hill 2 was a great little one.
yeah,
As well. That's a good little one. Actually,
yeah.
that can link to the topic because the sort of topic I had
Mm,
was related to what was it's basically sort of video game. Any video game interesting facts
okay.
or little tidbits that people may not know about any
Ooh,
game. It can be games that you've played, games that I've played, games that you've played with me, or even a game that you haven't played but you've watched videos on and
mm,
you've seen playthroughs of and you've never played it yourself. Yeah, just facts like that.
yeah.
Because one of
And
the
sorry, go
yeah,
on.
no,
No,
go on. You
as
go
I was
ahead,
going
sir.
to say, I'm actually really glad that was the topic of conversation you had in mind. Because apart from obviously just relaying the news that I've bought Silent Hill 2, another topic of conversation I had in mind, which actually probably links in really nicely to what you've proposed there,
Yeah.
was just me sort of. I was going to ask Phil, do you remember the absolute fun that was the Worms games?
Oh, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man,
Mm,
oh man, oh man. Yeah, Worms is it. Oh, it's such a good game.
yeah.
It is fantastic. Just little creatures we could just blast with all sorts of cool weapons and I noticed it in every iteration of Worms. They always introduced new weapons
Yeah, they
into
did.
the ones.
Yeah, but yeah, actually, because there are things I could talk about in reference to Worms games, in reference to little things people might not know, as you mentioned a moment ago. But
Yeah,
I was looking on. Well, so basically, the reason I've suddenly been thinking about Worms, the franchise again recently, is because I've been watching a bit of Hat Films content
oh
on
yes, they do a
YouTube.
lot of Worms
They
content.
do, yeah, and some of it's really funny. But particularly, they've been playing obviously like some of the later Worms games, some of the more recent ones, and some of them do look fun and enjoyable. Like Worms
Yeah,
WMD, for example, looks really fun. It's from 2016, so it's not a recent one, but it's one of the more up to date ones.
what up to date ones.
Yeah, and you can get it on Steam, and so I've been sort of looking at it, thinking, I might well put that on the wish list and buy that at some point.
Yeah, Worm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Obviously, when I used to come round, you had a Worms World Party,
Yes, that's
which
definitely the
was awesome.
last game in the Worms franchise I ever played, World Party, and that must have been when I was a teenager, early
Oh, that
teens or
was a
something.
good one. That
Yeah,
was a good one.
basically, yeah, Worms World Party. It was basically Worms Armageddon, but with extended content in it. That's
Yeah,
what it
because
was.
Worms Armageddon was the first, wasn't it?
So there was Worms, the original one from the 90s, then there was Worms 2, then there was Worms Armageddon.
Yeah.
And Armageddon is one that a lot of people remember very fondly. And then World Party came out, which is basically. It was a standalone game, but in essence, it was kind of Armageddon but extended with
It
more
was great,
content.
yeah, and you even had
Yeah.
the. Did they actually have the the weapon Armageddon in the Armageddon one.
Oh yeah,
because the Armageddon was the one that was the ultimate one.
Yeah, it was super OP. It's basically just roll the dice and hope that someone survives.
Yeah. Worms up. And then I actually got, if you remember, Worms 3D.
Oh yeah, you did, because you had some, one of the 3D ones.
Yeah, which is interesting when they went to the 3D into the 3D realm. Because they also had those little. I remember they had those little funny videos as well at the start of the maps. But yeah, there was actually a campaign on it, but you could just blast. And I remember I showed you for the first time. We both had fun just mucking about in Worms 3D.
But yeah, no, it's like I was looking on Steam at the number of Worms games they have, and there's probably sort of like 3 that stand out to me as possible ones I could buy. So there's Worms WMD, which is, like I say, one of the more recent ones.
One of the more recent ones,
which is 2D, but which that's classic Worms, pretty much.
Classic Worms, yeah.
The other 2 that I was sort of looking at, there is technically a Worms World Party remastered on Steam, which it has mixed reviews, but I don't know, some people say it's worth picking up if you're just a fan of the original Worms World Party. And also the other one I'm possibly thinking might be a good one would be Worms Revolution, which came out in 2012, I think.
Oh, I've heard of Worms Revolution, yeah.
And so that's, again, sort of like a traditional sort of 2D one, but apparently it has some interesting additions to the gameplay. So like it has like classes of worms, and then it has things like water physics and all kinds of stuff in it.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. Because there was I think the one after Worms 3D was Worms Forts, where you could actually build your own fort as a worm, and then you have to like destroy it, be the first person to destroy the other team's fort. A bit like Castle Crushers in a way. Yeah,
I think like a Worms World Party actually had something similar to that, where it had fort maps, where obviously you can't build your own fort in it, but it would have like a lot of preset maps where it'd be like 2 forts or something like that.
Yeah. Wasn't there also Worms 4 Battlegrounds?
There might have been. I can't really remember.
Worms 4 Battlegrounds.
But yeah, like the Worms games, I the more I think about it, sorry, I just spun my camera around them without meaning to. Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe getting some of them.
Yeah,
not
definitely.
All of them, but probably some of the maybe more highly rated ones, or some of the more interesting looking ones.
What about the voice packs?
Oh yes, they're so fun.
Remember the voice packs? Stupid. There we are.
Yeah.
You missed.
But WMD, Worms WMD, I think is going to be the must one, because that has like lots of new weapons in it, and apparently it also has things like turrets, vehicles apparently are a thing in it.
Vehicles?
Even though it's 2D, and even like maps that have buildings on them that you can go into, something like that. It just looks really interesting. So I might get that one, definitely. And then maybe, like I say, maybe Worms World Party Remastered and Worms Revolution.
Yeah. Also related to my little facts one, do you know the developer of
it's Team 17.
It is Team 17, yeah. I wonder I wonder if the reason they named that is they are a team of 17 people.
It could have been originally, when it started. Yeah,
they did very well with that. Because it's such a classic little game. I remember we always used to play it, and the worms, and then all the weapons. Like you got the famous ones, the Holy Hand Grenade.
Yeah, classic.
We all love that one. The bit I always used to love about that is it always just go hallelujah before it exploded.
Yeah, but that actually gets me onto, as I said a moment ago, I was sort of interested that you raised that topic of things people might not know about certain games or little facts, because Worms is full of them, in terms of some of the like crazier weapons in it being obviously like references to things, or
that wasn't it?
Because obviously Holy Hand Grenade, that's a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
because they have the Holy Hand Grenade in that, the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. Which they use to blow up a monster rabbit. So
that's it. Yeah.
But so many of the other like crazy super weapons in different Worms games, things like that, are references either to popular media or to like current events that were happening at the time. Because I think I may have mentioned some of them to you before. Because do you remember the Mail Strike in?
Mail Strike, yeah.
Yeah, because that was obviously a reference to the fact that I think in the UK there'd been a postal workers strike in the 90s, around about the time when I can't remember which game did the Mail Strike first appear in. Was it Worms Armageddon? It might have been that one.
Yes.
Yeah, possibly.
That was the one with which came down with an airplane.
Yeah,
it similar to the airstrike and napalm bomb.
It was either an airplane or it might have been like a rocket-propelled postbox or something like that that flies through the air and drops the letters.
I always like the way they
Yeah.
did the animations for that in the 3D games for the airstrike, because you can actually see it goes into a cutscene with an airplane that comes along. It just opens and then sends them all down.
Maybe I should see if one of maybe I should see if one of the 3D ones, the 3D one that you had, I wonder if that's available on Steam.
Yeah, have a check, see if it is. It might
That could
be able
always
to
be
play
worth
that.
it. Yeah. But yeah, other ones. Sorry, I'm on a bit of a Worms sort of ramble at the moment, Phil, because I really want to revisit that franchise at some point.
Well, I don't see why you shouldn't, because we had a lot of fun in the past on it.
Indeed. But yeah, there's like other weapons as well, like the Indian nuclear test. Do you remember that one?
Oh yes,
Yeah, obviously that was a reference to the fact that like 1997 or 9 or whatever it was, India had actually tested its first nuclear weapon, so they made that into a weapon in Worms.
What was the concrete donkey?
That apparently is a reference. This is a more obscure one. So I was reading up on that one recently. Apparently, it's sort of like a developer in joke, because apparently one of the devs, when he was a kid, in his family's home, there'd been like a little concrete statue of a donkey in the garden, apparently, and so they randomly just turned that into a weapon. So
yeah, it was one of those powerful weapons. That one.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, like I say, some of the weapons are jokes that are sort of reflective of in jokes among the development team as well. So like that one, for example. But yeah, it's just Worms is such a good one for little facts like that. I think I will.
Just get it because it could maybe have a see if the 3D is available on there. Because that'll be good as well. Because I remember the anime, because it had its. I think there was like a campaign mode.
Oh yeah, a lot of them did. Yeah, they had like the campaign mode, and then they just had regular battle mode where you could just fight teams against each other. But yeah, that'd probably be a good set of games for me to get, and then see if we could sort of me and you do it. Obviously, I'd probably have to control a lot, but try and sort of have a 2-player battle, sort of. It'd be quite good fun that to revisit them.
Well, I might be coming to visit you soon.
You might be.
We're getting time for that.
It could be.
I do remember that everything was like, even in a 3D, you noticed it more, where everything was completely destructible.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about Worms. Everything is destructible.
It's such a. It's one of those concepts, though, for a game that I think is so simple and yet so great. Just a 2D background with little characters, and they just have an arsenal of crazy weapons that all have different physical properties to them.
I mean, it's because they're great. The society we live in, the fact that you can make a video game on anything.
Yeah.
And some of them they can just be fantastic, can't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's me rambling about little known
Worms is
things
lovely, yeah.
from Worms.
Well, I'm just thinking about that, because that was good that you brought some facts in that, because I do remember playing, because we used to play Worms on Party quite a lot, and we always used to have a lot of fun doing it. But some like interesting facts about it. Like I said, any game really. One of the things that I always used to find funny was the fact that Aperture Science, who of course are Portal, and Black Mesa, who are Half-Life, were absolutely bitter rivals and absolutely hated the living pants off each other.
Yeah.
Because they were huge rivals with one another. But of course, Aperture Science fell into disrepair because Cave Johnson didn't know how to market things properly.
Yeah.
And eventually he died, didn't he, of poisoning, moon poisoning? Because
like moon dust or something.
Moon dust, because he kept. That's the way. That's how the portals worked.
Yeah.
They had to be on surfaces made out of moon dust.
I must say, it's just one of those little known facts that technically that means that the Portal and Half-Life universes are the same timeline, the same continuum.
Yeah.
But I must say, Cave Johnson is such a great fucking character. Even though you never actually meet him, you never see him in the flesh. All you know about Cave Johnson is what you hear over his recordings. He's such a great character.
He's so funny, isn't he?
Yeah. He's like this bombastic, larger-than-life character who eventually has this, big fall. But God, the voice actor who voiced Cave Johnson did such a great job bringing that character to life.
Yeah, one of the best narrations.
It's J.K. Simmons, is he called? The voice
it is
actor,
J.K. Simmons, yes. Yeah,
He
I
was,
know he did it, and he did a fantastic job.
He was J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies, the
Yeah,
big
that's
media
where the
boss.
bombastic personality comes from, because he was like that in Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was.
As well.
I guess he's just a good actor if you need someone to play a sort of bombastic boss character, kind of.
Yeah. And the fact, the funny things was in there, the gels.
Oh, yeah.
Well, originally, the repulsion gel was supposed to be used as a weight loss thing, and what it was supposed to do was you'd consume it, and it would make food bounce off your intestines, so you didn't digest it.
Yeah.
Which is no good, because you basically starve to death.
Indeed.
But yeah, they hate each other, Aperture Science and Black Mesa.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the end, I think Black Mesa came out on top.
Yeah, they did technically. And then, of course, the events of Half-Life happen, and it all goes to shit.
Because of the bloody Combine.
Yeah, indeed.
And everything. But yeah, that's a little fact about Portal and Half-Life, which is an interesting little one.
So I could talk as well, little known facts probably about Danganronpa games. I could probably talk about those ones because there's a lot to do with them as well. If you go back, for example, to the beta phase of what became Trigger Happy Havoc, and you look at what originally the game was going to be, it was remarkably different to how it eventually was. It was originally going to be called Distrust. It was just going to be called Distrust, not Danganronpa.
Oh yeah, maybe we were discussing this a bit in our. Do you remember our episode where we were wondering about if we were kidnapped and taken to Hope Speak Academy?
Yeah.
How would we survive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was originally going to be called Distrust, and it was even darker than it is. And basically, Monokuma wasn't Monokuma. Instead, he was this thing called the Phantom. And if you look at pictures of him, he still has that monochrome black and white half and half design, except he looks sort of like an anatomical cutaway figure. So like one half of him looks human, and then the other half is just like all internal organs and weirdness, and it's just kind of creepy looking, bit uncanny valley.
Yeah, I can see why they might have scrapped that. They maybe thought, really. Maybe we can do something a bit better.
Indeed.
And then they made it so it was an evil teddy bear.
Yeah. But if you look at like a lot of the character designs for the characters in Distrust, most of them all look so different, except I think I mentioned last time you joined me for Sayaka and Leon, whose designs are actually remarkably consistent.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they were apparently the first characters designed in the history of Danganronpa, I think. So
oh, were they? Okay.
I believe they were, which is interesting. Not Makoto, but Leon and Sayaka, so there you go, yeah.
Oh, actually, that's an intriguing little fact, yeah.
Yeah. But there's all kinds of stuff, looking at like beta designs of characters from Danganronpa and, how so radically, crazily different some of them are to how ultimately that character turned out. And sometimes you look at them and you wonder if certain characters were actually meant in an earlier version of the script to maybe play a different role to what they were going to. There's some great examples of that. I think like Sonia, for example, in DR2, one of her beta designs makes her actually look much more smug and potentially like evil than she actually is in the game. So makes you wonder if at some point they had the idea of maybe making her a bit more of an antagonist character.
Well, it'll all be discussed, won't it, in the with the writing team?
Yeah.
And they'll be putting up these ideas and then thinking, this is not feasible.
Yeah.
This is not going to work. It'll happen with any video game.
Indeed.
Like when you have a look at all the various, sometimes with some video games you get like the if you get the collector's edition, you can get like an art book, can't you?
You can.
Of old beta designs, and you're like, oh my god! And some changes are really quite extreme.
They are.
And it's just obviously they're coming together and they think, nah, that's shit.
Yeah.
Nah, we don't like that. Let's try and design something a bit different.
Indeed.
This is why it's difficult. It's difficult to work in the video game industry because you're constantly having to adapt and change and thinking, does this look good? Nah. Does this? Nah. And then you've got to put the story around it. That's the thing.
Yeah. Because I think it's interesting in a game like Danganronpa where you've got to, because obviously all the characters have got to be distinct. They've got to be really eye-catching and interesting.
Because they've all got ultimate talents.
So I imagine probably the sort of design process that goes on with Danganronpa characters would be that first you would probably, before actually physically designing them, you would probably sort of get an idea of who they are and what's their character arc and things like that before anything else, and then try and design something that kind of fits that.
That sort of sort of thing with most of it. Do you remember Wired, where obviously the experts talk about their jobs and how things go? Well, it was obviously a video game developer who was a lead developer basically, and he's talking about how his game was made, and obviously they start writing out the story first, and then they adapt the characters around it. And if they feel that sometimes they make a character and they feel no, that's not fitting in with the story at all, start again.
Indeed. Because speaking of characters who have to be taken out of a game, perhaps a little known fact about one of my favourite games from my youth, Rayman 3. There was from what I've read in the initial design phases, there was a whole other chapter in that game that eventually got completely scrapped and was taken out, because obviously in Rayman, you go to Rayman 3 rather, obviously you go to different landscapes, all with their own sort of unique visual aesthetic. Apparently at one point there was going to be like an ocean land that you went to, and it had these like little jellyfish creatures in it who Rayman would have to help, because the hoodlums had apparently built like a giant washing machine and were using them as like weird little test subjects or something. So that was going to be a whole thing. There was going to be a whole basically a whole chapter of the game which would probably involve a lot of underwater swimming. But eventually it got cut out of the game because I think the devs apparently just didn't feel like it fit really well with the rest of the game. Which is probably why there is one level in the Land of the Living Dead in Rayman 3 where you do actually swim underwater, because a lot of people I think look at that and think that might have been a leftover from an older version of the game when they had built that one level, but they didn't want to just get rid of it, so they just instead decided to make it a one-off thing that happens in one of the other chapters. So
okay, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. That's Rayman 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Rayman 3. I've actually got a funny fact about I think Portal again, actually. Portal 2.
Yeah.
Portal 2. Stephen Merchant. At the time, when he was, because I saw a little interview with him about his coming into obviously playing Wheatley, and he was told about Portal and he was given a script, and he wasn't aware of how big Portal was. He was just going there I think it was his daughter or something, expressed how good it was, and he was just like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then he looked at the script and he thought, this is quite good. This is really quite good. And so he went in, obviously he's worked well. I think it was the same actually with GTA 5 and the voice actor who plays Michael, who I believe is Ned Luke is his name.
Yeah.
And he wasn't aware of quite the severity of how gigantic Grand Theft Auto is. And when he read the script, he just thought, this is so funny.
Yeah.
This is how I've actually seen Ned Luke in interviews and something, and oh my god, he looks like Michael.
Does he?
He looks like Michael, and when he talks, he acts like Michael as well. It's so good when you see him.
That's interesting actually, because it kind of makes you wonder. I guess maybe did they mocap the voice actor then? Did they
I think have a look at the three actors who play Franklin, Trevor, Michael, because they do act very similar to their characters. Because Franklin is Sean Fontana, I think is his name, and Trevor is Stephen Ogg.
Okay.
Yeah. And they act very much like. You should have a look. So it's Ned Luke, Stephen Ogg, and Sean Fontana.
Okay.
Who, funnily enough, that's another fact. Sean Fontana is the cousin of the voice actor who plays CJ from GTA San Andreas. Yeah, they're cousins.
Yeah.
What's his name? I've forgotten his name. The voice actor for CJ from GTA San Andreas. Yeah, they're cousins. But yeah, when you look at them, you should definitely watch them and see.
Yeah. Anyway, that's always kind of interesting. Of course, as soon as you mentioned CJ, I just think of the famous line, Phil.
All you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
That one.
From Big
All
Smoke.
you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Well, there's another meme from him. I don't know if you've heard about his famous food order.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I'll have a number 9 large, a 45 with extra cheese. Yeah, it's one of those famous things. Yeah. Oh, there's just always things because GTA is just so funny.
Indeed. There's so many great moments.
It's like one of the things where he quotes something, and he's like, it's like it's there. It's all there in the book. What fucking book?
Dearie me. Yep.
Uh,
Wow. Trying to think.
Actually,
Go on.
no, I had one which is actually quite nice. People may know this, they may not know. Of course, a good few years ago, there was the horrible fire on Notre Dame,
Oh yeah,
wasn't there?
there was.
Yeah, that was really quite sad. Now, what was nice, Ubisoft, of course, who made Assassin's Creed Unity, their depiction of Notre Dame was a 1-to-1 scale. So they actually let you use the license of the Notre Dame in Assassin's Creed Unity to help the builders rebuild Notre Dame, the real Notre Dame, which is really good. Not only did they do that, but they actually gave them 500,000 euros.
Nice.
to the city of Paris to help build Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So that's really, really nice of Ubisoft to do that.
It is.
And to get them. Yes, Assassin's Creed Unity wasn't the best of Assassin's Creed games, although it's a lot better now because it's not as ridiculously buggy and everything. But yeah, the way they did that was fantastic for them. Maybe known, it may not be known.
Indeed. If you want to know, if you want to have a real dive, actually, now that we're on the subject of Ubisoft, into one of my favourite games of all time, Beyond Good and Evil, go to my Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition playlist and go to the very final episode where I'm looking at the additional bonus art gallery that's now included with that version of the game. And holy shit, the amount of information in that about Beyond Good and Evil's development and what it, was at different times is fascinating. Because the story in that went through so many changes, even the characters in it as well. Because apparently, at one point, Jade was not called Jade. She was originally called Sally, apparently. And she looked completely different. Well, I mean, obviously we do that, but yeah.
Actually, I'm glad they changed that. That just... It's a very bit of a generic name, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Jade's better.
Yeah, Jade's a lot better.
Indeed.
Wasn't there also little snippets of things we've gone BG&E too?
Yeah, so that was in the 20th Anniversary Edition. It now has a few little hidden collectibles you can find, which basically...
Does that hold out hope?
Yeah, I'm hoping it does. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, where is it? Okay, Google. Where is Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Tech radar. Beyond Good and Evil 2 hasn't stopped development yet.
Oh.
And despite a lack of evidence, it is still in the works at Ubisoft Montpellier.
Okay.
So, basically what we were kind of already under the impression. So, yeah, I just think, though, the fact that they've released the 20th Anniversary Edition of the game with all this new, all these little bits of content.
There's got to be something there.
Yeah.
Surely they wouldn't do that and then just go no. And the fact that I told you that they got in a new lead designer.
Yeah.
Didn't they? They hired a new lead designer.
Indeed. So I think the development's still going.
Even though Michel Ancel's gone. Unless I wonder if maybe he has gone, or maybe he's doing something in the background.
Maybe he could still be there, sort of in an informal advisory capacity. Who knows?
Because Notch did that initially with Minecraft before he basically basically gave the torch over to Mojang completely.
Yeah.
But when he did have a bit of a hand still in Minecraft when he first initially left.
Yeah. But yeah, it's well worth a watch. I mean, granted, my final episode of Beyond Good and Evil, where I just look at the art gallery on the 20th Anniversary Edition, granted, it's a huge episode, it's like at least a couple of hours, but it's well worth it, because you look at how the story of Beyond Good and Evil evolved throughout its development, how at one point the Doms, I think, were not actually the bad guys, and at one point there was another alien race called the Narj and things like this, and it's just
there's
really
a lot
strange.
of sort of changes, yeah.
And apparently, in its earliest days, the idea was that Paige and Jade would be accompanied by up to about 3 other characters, and they were basically supposed to be like interstellar pest controllers or something. It's really weird, but it's really fascinating.
Weird,
yeah.
I always find it funny that Double H had a bit of a thing for Jade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. But yeah, no, it's fascinating. Go and watch it.
Carlson and Peters.
Carlson and Peters.
Yeah.
DBUTT.
It wasn't interesting. Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil is it's just it's got that element. I know it didn't do well in sales, but it's a cult classic.
Yeah,
One could say.
absolutely, indeed.
Yeah.
I think of just very quickly, another old sort of favourite game of mine from my youth, Captain Claw. I once found on the Captain Claw Recluse fan website, you can actually download. I don't know how they got their hands on this. They must have contacted someone from the original development team. But you can download from there a load of old character concept arts from it, which includes a load of characters who never made it into the final game. And
Oh right, okay.
yeah, it's really funny because some of them, admittedly, kind of look a bit like DeviantArt friggin' furry OCs, but some of them do look like generally funny characters who would have probably fit quite well into a Captain Claw, into Captain Claw basically. But yeah, there's another one.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, there's always good to find little interesting tidbits, isn't there? Little facts about various different things.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is video game companies do give in to fans.
They do.
You know, because the one thing obviously that's recently when I talk about Assassin's Creed is the fact that everyone for many years, every time Ubisoft released new Assassin's Creed, everyone's going, oh, for God's sake, it's still not Feudal Japan. Where's Feudal Japan? Can we have Feudal Japan? Feudal Japan, please. Feudal Japan. Oh, what's coming soon? Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah.
Where is that going to be set? Feudal Japan.
Indeed.
So they're finally doing it. But my God, it's taken them some time. But
Yeah.
I think it must come to realization that they really need to do it.
Yeah. People want it.
But there's a funny little in-universe thing about Assassin's Creed. The fact that due to the law, they can't ever do a World War II setting.
Oh yeah,
because
mentioned this before. Yeah,
Adolf Hitler and Winston Churchill are both Templars.
Yeah, that's really like a freaking one of those weird things. It's like who made that decision? That's a bit strange.
Yeah, so they can. Plus, I think they also said that it's a good excuse they've put in there, so they don't have to do World War II because World War II's been it is a bit done to death with things
in video games. Certainly, absolutely, yeah.
But thank God they're finally going to do Feudal Japan. I think it's it is about time because everyone's been wanting that for so long.
Yeah,
and that would just be so cool. I don't know. I haven't seen much of it. I don't know what the storyline is, but you may be like a samurai or a shogun as part, and you have to take down various Templar orders.
Maybe.
I'm still trying to work out Assassin's Creed Odyssey because that's the one I'm playing at the moment. But that's obviously before the Brotherhood and the Templar had even started, because it was Assassin's Creed Origins was where it started. So, but obviously this ancient Greece is set like 400 years before. So I don't know how this is going to come into play.
There'll be a plot twist at some point that'll explain everything, I imagine.
There certainly will be.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think we should wrap up here, or unless you've got any others you want to talk about?
Got any other games that I'm thinking of? I'm just thinking.
I can't think of any. At least not like little-known facts from ones I've played.
Just thinking of something in Skyrim or Fallout. That reminds me. When is Elder Scrolls 6 going to happen? we haven't even got a teaser for that. At least for GTA 6, there's been like teasers and everything, but nothing for Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
And also Fallout 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there, because the last thing that Bethesda have done is that Starfield.
Yeah.
Which is that's been very mixed reviews. That Starfield.
True.
It's basically it's related to Fallout in space.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about Starfield myself. Yeah. Gosh. No, I can't think of any.
Here's an interesting question for you. Do you think that there might be a possibility that Ubisoft would ever release a Rayman 4?
Ooh.
And if so, do you think it'd be in the same realm as 3, or might they go into a whole different route?
God, I don't know. That is a very
Rayman Assassin's Creed.
Rayman Creed.
We have to synchronise points in the Rayman. No.
Yeah.
Would they do it though?
I don't know. That's the thing, like, because the problem is, since Rayman Origins and Legends, like the Rayman franchise has just been silent. It feels like there's not really been any sort of news of another instalment in there, which is a real shame.
Someone still hasn't done Rayman 1.
I know I still haven't done that one, and
Come
I
on,
need to.
Rayman 1.
I do actually have Rayman Legends as well now in my Steam library. Need to play that too.
Need to play that too, but yeah, Rayman 4 would be really. But you see, at the moment, Ubisoft have got a lot on the plate.
They have.
Because they'll be well, we hope they're doing Beyond Good and Evil 2, and they're obviously working on Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing another Watch Dogs, because I haven't played Watch Dogs Legion, so I don't know if that's the end of it all, or obviously they'll be doing, because they'll be doing another Far Cry at some point.
Yeah.
So they've done Far Cry 6 was the latest one, so there may be a Far Cry 7 in the future. So I don't know if Rayman is on their cards.
It just might not be, that's the thing. But the thing is, like, the most recent time we actually saw Rayman wasn't actually in a game, it was in that animated series Captain Laserhawk, which I can't remember what streaming service that's on, but basically it has a lot of Ubisoft characters in it. And Rayman, I did an episode talking about it, and that was quite something. That was their depiction of Rayman in there. But yes, go and search for it, ladies and gentlemen, in my Surrey Being Hunted playlist. It's quite something.
I think there's one Assassin's Creed game where, was it? I think it's where you one of them where you go in the modern day section. I can't remember Assassin's Creed 4 where you're in the modern section. It might have been Assassin's Creed Road, but where he has a figurine of Rayman on his on his shelf.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. Little touches and references here and there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's it. We've had a nice little fact discussion, and worms. Oh, yeah. Worms.
I need to put some of them on my wish list. I need to, and then get them. Because the thing is, actually, if you're coming down here at some point, actually, it'd be good to have a worms game. We could, like I say, do a 2-player game.
Fantastic. I remember that voice pack. The voice pack I used to love was the RP one.
Oh, yeah.
That was so funny. Oh, I say, you seem to have missed me.
I always liked the one that was called CAD, which again was like sort of posh, but much more sort of silly. Like, no, yes, if those old boys kick the bucket.
Very much, very game chappy-esque.
Yeah, that one,
isn't it?
Yeah. And you could always get voices that were based on nationalities, like very stereotyped versions of nationalities, like German and French. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that. What is he doing?
Yes. Okay, well, in that case, I think we'll wrap up here then, shan't we, Phil? Indeed. Yep. Thank you for joining me. That was a real good conversation. I really like that one.
I like that one.
Yeah.
We thinking of things, so we just constantly think of things with Sir, which is always good because there's countless topics in the world.
Yeah. So, let us know in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to, any sort of interesting little-known facts about some of your favourite games that you've ever played in your life. Feel free to
definitely tell us.
Know. Yeah.
You may have a game that you found that no one really knows about.
Yeah. And indeed, so in the meantime, my social media links, propagandist channel link, all that are down in the video description for anyone who might be interested. And a like's always appreciated as well if you did enjoy the video and all that. Isn't that right, Phil?
A like is always appreciated, and a dislike is no. But you can't do that anymore because YouTube have got rid of the dislike feature.
Technically, it's still technically there, and you can click on it, but it just doesn't show up publicly anymore. And funny thing is, like, it doesn't actually negatively affect the video in any way, so it's kind of pointless it being there. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up then.
Goodbye.
So, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Is that true, narrator, old boy? Yes, that was the third one then. Whoa. No, we didn't. I think your memories are going a bit weird. 10 of 6. Well, at least it's a nice new area to be in. This beautiful pink church room with Big Apple. Where's that music coming from? It's just sort of coming out of nowhere. Alright, through here then. Oh, what the? Hello? We're going through a box wall.